Ever get that, like, eerie feeling that the universe is sending you a message? Like when you keep seeing the same number everywhere you look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe you've had a gut feeling, and it turned out to be true.
Right.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
It's all about those moments where we find order in the midst of chaos.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how our minds are just wired to seek out those patterns.
Exactly.
Even when,
Even when they might not even be there.
Yeah, they might not actually be there.
And we are exploring this whole idea
Mm.
through a really thought-provoking episode of the Throughline podcast
Oh, okay.
called Chaos.
Right.
And they've unearthed some pretty incredible stories that really make you question how much control we actually have
Yeah.
over our own destinies.
It's true. Like, one of the most striking stories is about this Marine-turned-journalist,
Okay.
David Morris,
Mhm.
and he became, like, obsessed with pattern recognition. After all of his experiences in Iraq,
Really?
yeah, he actually even referred to it as
What?
a search for the fingerprints of God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he was trying to find meaning in all the chaos of war.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's called apophenia.
Apophenia.
Apophenia, yeah. It's the tendency to perceive meaningful connections between things that are totally unrelated.
Oh, okay.
And it's a completely natural human impulse.
Yeah.
It's actually rooted in our evolutionary history, like way back.
So you're saying that our, like, caveman ancestors
Wow.
were seeing patterns in the stars?
Not exactly stars, but think about it.
Oh.
Out on the savannah, hearing a rustle in the grass, is
Huh.
it just the wind?
Yeah.
Or a predator,
Yeah.
Those who were quick to spot patterns, even if they weren't really there,
Mm-hmm.
they were more likely to survive.
So it's like a built-in survival mechanism.
Right, exactly.
But how does that explain, like, David's experience then?
Well, in high-stakes situations like war,
Yeah.
where the threat of danger is constant, this whole tendency to find patterns,
Yeah.
it can get, like, heightened.
Wow.
It's like our brains are working overtime
Yeah.
to make sense of the chaos and find some, like, semblance of predictability.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, as we heard in the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
this search for patterns
Yes.
can sometimes go too far.
It can.
Right.
Extreme apophenia
Mm-hmm.
can actually be a sign of psychological distress.
Really?
Yeah, and it's even been linked to conditions like PTSD
Oh, yeah.
and schizophrenia.
It's a reminder that our perception of reality,
Yeah.
while crucial for survival,
Yeah.
can also be a double-edged sword.
Totally.
You know?
Absolutely.
This reminds me of that famous book, Lord of the Flies.
Oh, yeah.
It's often used as an example of how easily humans just descend into chaos
Yeah.
when left to their own devices.
Yeah.
But the Throughline episode actually challenges this whole notion
Right.
with a real-life Lord of the Flies story. That's so interesting.
It's a remarkable tale
Yeah.
of 6 Tongan boys
Okay.
who were shipwrecked on a deserted island in 1965.
Wow.
And their experience
Yeah.
was the complete opposite of the fictional one,
Really?
where they all turn on each other.
Right.
These real-life castaways, they created a system of order and cooperation,
Wow.
and even a unique form of conflict resolution.
It completely flips the script on our assumptions about human nature, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
What do you think contributed to their success
Well,
in such a dire situation?
the episode explores the role of their cultural and religious background, particularly the emphasis on communal living
Okay.
and respect for elders.
Right.
And it suggests that these deeply ingrained values really help them navigate the challenges of survival
Yeah.
and maintain that sense of order.
It's fascinating how these, like, external factors can shape our behavior in such profound ways.
Absolutely.
Makes you wonder if our true nature is inherently savage
Yeah.
or inherently cooperative.
Right.
Like, which one is it?
It's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this ties into this concept called veneer theory.
Veneer theory.
Yeah. It's this idea that civilization is just a thin layer
Okay.
covering up our primal instincts.
Oh, okay. So are you saying we're not all just a bunch of savages waiting to, like, break free from the shackles of society?
Not necessarily. It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
I think veneer theory tends to oversimplify human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were saying, the Tongan boys story shows we're complex beings
Yeah.
capable of great kindness,
Yeah.
but also great cruelty.
I'm already starting to see chaos in a whole new light.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about, like, destruction and disorder,
Right.
but also the potential for resilience
Yeah.
and creativity, even
Yeah.
unexpected forms of human connection,
Yeah, I love that.
you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And speaking of challenging established norms, the story of Zero offers another fascinating example of how humans find order in seemingly chaotic concepts.
Interesting.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm curious. How does Zero, of all things, fit into this?
Yeah.
This discussion of chaos and order.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty straightforward concept.
You might be surprised.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The story of Zero is so much more than just, like, a math concept.
Oh, wow.
It's a journey through human history
Okay.
and our struggle to really grasp this idea of nothingness.
Interesting.
It even spurred controversy and resistance.
Hold on, controversy over Zero.
I know, right?
That's intriguing. Tell me more.
Okay, well, we have to go way back in time to ancient Sumer,
Okay.
where zero was first used as a placeholder on the abacus.
Oh, okay.
And it took centuries for it to evolve, from a mere symbol to a number with its own properties and significance.
It's hard to imagine a world without the number 0.
I know, right?
But it wasn't always a given, was it?
Not at all. This concept of nothingness.
Or shunya, as it was called in ancient India,
Okay.
presented all sorts of philosophical and even theological challenges.
Wow.
Like, if 0 represents nothingness,
Yeah.
does that mean the universe came from nothing?
That's a pretty heavy question.
I know.
For mathematicians to ponder, it's like zero forced them to confront the very nature of existence.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it was this brilliant Indian mathematician
Okay.
named Brahmagupta in the 7th century
Okay.
who took this giant leap forward. He defined 0 not just as a placeholder, but as a number in its own right,
Really?
a concept that revolutionized math.
So Brahmagupta essentially gave nothingness a numerical value.
He did.
That's mind-boggling.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
And it was groundbreaking. It laid the foundation for algebra and many other mathematical advancements.
Wow.
But even this revolutionary concept
Yeah.
faced resistance when it spread to Europe.
What? People resisted the idea of zero. Why? I know some saw it as, like, a threat to the established order.
Real.
Even calling it Saracen magic. A derogatory term reflecting the biases of the time.
It's amazing how even seemingly simple concepts like 0
Yeah.
can become entangled with cultural and political ideologies.
Totally.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But fortunately, some brave individuals championed the cause of 0,
They did.
recognizing its potential to transform math and our understanding of the world.
Exactly.
You're talking about Fibonacci, right?
Yes. Fibonacci.
The guy who popularized the use of Arabic numerals in Europe?
That's him.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fibonacci was just fascinated by the power of zero and the efficiency of Arabic numerals.
Yeah.
He even traveled to the Muslim world to learn more about them.
Oh.
But he had to tread carefully.
Oh, right.
Advocating for these, like, foreign ideas could have serious consequences.
So, Fibonacci risked his reputation and potentially his safety
He did.
to bring 0 to the Western world.
He did. And his book, Liber Abaci, which introduced Arabic numerals and this concept of zero to Europe, it had a profound impact on the development of mathematics.
It's incredible how the story of 0,
Yeah,
something we often take for granted,
totally.
is actually a tale of human ingenuity,
Right.
cultural exchange,
Yeah.
and the constant struggle to find order amidst the chaos of new discoveries.
It is. It's beautiful, isn't it?
This is already so much more than I expected.
Really.
Where do we go from here?
Welcome back to our deep dive into chaos.
Ooh, chaos.
Before we went on, we were talking about zero and how it challenged all that conventional thinking and eventually revolutionized math.
Right?
It highlights how even the most basic concepts can have such a profound impact on human history.
It's amazing how something we use every day, like 0, has such a rich and complex backstory.
Totally.
But this whole idea of challenging established norms also applies to how we view human nature,
Yeah.
you know?
That's right.
Like, remember that veneer theory we touched on?
Yeah.
The one that argues that civilization is just this thin layer
Right.
covering up our inherent savagery.
Yeah.
But the Through Line episode
Yeah.
actually presents some compelling counter-arguments to this view.
Right. They did.
Which I think is refreshing,
Yeah.
considering all the negativity we're bombarded with
Totally.
on a daily basis.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It is. It is.
So they highlighted Rutger Bregman.
Right, the historian.
Yes, he argues that humans are actually wired for cooperation and kindness,
Really?
especially in times of crisis.
Okay, interesting.
It's all rooted in the idea that cooperation has been essential for human survival throughout history.
So instead of constantly fighting for resources, like we assume,
Well,
our ancestors were actually more likely to thrive by working together.
yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
He points to evidence of altruism and cooperation in various historical events and anthropological studies. He even challenges that popular image of the aggressive caveman, suggesting that survival of the friendliest
Revival of the friendliest.
might be more accurate.
Wow, okay.
So he also critiques how the news and historical narratives
Right.
often focus on conflict and violence.
Yeah.
So it creates this skewed perception.
Right, so it makes you wonder if we're predisposed to seeing the worst in ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're constantly exposed to.
Exactly. It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Right. Our understanding of the world
Mm-hmm.
is shaped by the stories we tell
Yeah.
and the information that we consume.
That's true.
If we're just constantly bombarded with all this negativity, it's natural to assume that that's the dominant force in human nature.
Like that's just how people are.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But his research suggests otherwise,
Okay, interesting.
citing numerous examples of human kindness and compassion, particularly in the face of adversity. They even talk about, in the episode, how natural disasters often trigger an outpouring of altruism and helping behavior.
That's true.
Yeah. Think about the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
Or the 2004 tsunami.
Yeah.
People from all walks of life came together to support those in need.
It's like those disaster movies where everyone bands together to help each other survive.
Yeah.
But it's not fiction.
It's real life.
It's a real and recurring phenomenon.
It is.
It is.
And it's not just limited to those large-scale events. He argues that everyday acts of kindness, the small gestures of support and generosity, are just as crucial to human society.
Right. It kind of strengthens our bonds.
Exactly.
Creates a sense of community.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not just isolated individuals fighting for our own survival. We're interconnected. We're wired for cooperation and capable of incredible acts of kindness.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So this brings us back to finding order in chaos.
Okay.
Bregman's argument is that we have to look beyond the surface, question those dominant narratives, and recognize the inherent potential for good that exists within humanity.
Right. So see the good in people.
Yeah. And ourselves.
Yeah.
It encourages us to see the world with a bit more optimism and hope.
But even with all these inspiring examples of human cooperation, we can't ignore the reality that conflict and chaos are still very much a part of the human experience.
Absolutely. Even the story of the Tongan boys highlights that more complicated side of human nature.
Right. I was wondering about their return to civilization.
Oh, yeah.
After being shipwrecked and over a year on a deserted island. I imagine they were hailed as heroes.
Right. You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But their homecoming wasn't quite the triumphant affair you might expect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember how they kind of borrowed a boat?
Oh, yeah, to embark on their little adventure.
Yeah, that decision came back to bite them.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
Yeah, they were promptly arrested upon their arrival.
No way.
Yeah.
After everything they went through.
It seems surviving a shipwreck doesn't exempt you from the law.
That's crazy.
So they had someone on their side, luckily.
Oh, good.
Peter Warner, the captain who rescued them.
Yeah.
He became their advocate.
Oh, that's good.
He used his influence to get the charges dropped.
Okay, good.
Recognizing that these boys had already endured more than enough.
Wow. It's amazing how one person's actions can make such a difference.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder what would have happened if he hadn't intervened.
It's a sobering thought, right?
Yeah.
It highlights how even in a society that values order and justice, individual acts of kindness can sometimes be overshadowed by rigid systems and social hierarchies.
So after this legal hurdle,
Yeah.
Did they manage to reintegrate into society?
Well, their story takes another turn, kind of a heartwarming one.
Okay.
So Peter Warner, he didn't just help them with the legal stuff.
Right.
He formed a genuine bond with them.
Really?
Yeah, they actually ended up starting a fishing business together.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, they turned their shared experience into this new chapter of collaboration.
That's incredible.
Right, from being shipwrecked to
Yeah.
becoming business partner.
Wow, what a testament to the power of human connection.
Right. It's amazing how our lives can unfold.
It's a blend of resilience,
Mhm.
social dynamics, and the impact of human relationships.
It
It's
is.
pretty cool.
It challenges us to consider the complexities of human nature
Yeah.
and how even in the face of adversity, we can find ways to create order,
Right.
meaning, and connection.
I love that.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, this deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Yeah.
We've explored the human instinct to find patterns, the historical struggle to define nothingness,
Yeah.
the debate about the true nature of humankind.
It's been quite the journey.
And we've seen how these seemingly disparate topics
Right.
are all connected
Yes.
by this overarching theme
True.
of finding order in chaos.
Absolutely. Whether it's through scientific discovery, social
Yeah.
structures, or personal experiences, we're constantly trying to make sense of the world
Right?
and our place in it.
It's a very human thing to do,
It is.
but we're not done yet.
Uh-oh.
There's one more fascinating aspect to this episode we haven't explored,
What's that?
a concept that takes us from the concrete world
Yeah.
of human behavior
Mm-hmm.
to the abstract realm of mathematics.
Interesting. Welcome back to our exploration of chaos.
Yeah, we've covered some fascinating ground so far.
We have.
From like the psychology of pattern recognition
right.
to the complex story of the Tungan boys.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
And before the break, you hinted at a connection between zero and the very fabric of reality.
Did.
Yes. You mentioned something about zero and the universe, and I have to admit that really piqued my curiosity.
Okay.
So tell me more.
It's a concept that might seem abstract, but bear with me.
I'm all ears.
The Throughline episode delves into how the story of zero goes beyond just mathematics. It touches upon some profound philosophical and even cosmological questions.
Okay, now you're really grabbing my attention.
Remember how we discussed the philosophical challenges zero presented in ancient times?
Yes.
The idea of nothingness was a difficult concept to grasp, even for brilliant minds.
Yes. It's like trying to wrap your head around like the absence of something.
Right.
It's both fascinating and a bit unsettling.
Precisely. And this is where the connection to the universe comes in.
Okay.
So if zero represents nothingness, and if our current understanding of physics suggests that the universe, as we know it, originated from this state of extreme density and heat, could it be that zero played a role in the very creation of everything?
Wow, that's a mind-blowing thought. You're suggesting that zero, this mathematical concept, might hold a key to understanding the origins of the universe.
It's a question that has puzzled physicists and philosophers for centuries. Some theories even propose that the universe emerged from a quantum vacuum, a state of nothingness with the potential for everything.
So zero isn't just an empty space on a number line.
No.
It's a representation of a state of pure potentiality.
Exactly. It's a concept that embodies both absence and possibility. And this brings us back to the theme of finding order in chaos.
Right.
The universe, as we know it, is a vast and complex system, seemingly governed by, both random events and fundamental laws.
But even within this apparent chaos, there are underlying patterns,
There are.
mathematical principles, and even the potential for life to emerge.
Absolutely.
And zero, this symbol of nothingness, might be more integral to that order than we ever imagined.
More than we realize, yeah.
This entire deep dive has been an incredible journey, challenging my assumptions about human nature, history, and even the universe itself.
It's been quite the exploration.
What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from our exploration?
Honestly, it's the realization that there's always more to discover.
Yeah.
More layers to peel back, more connections to be made.
Right.
Whether we're talking about human behavior, scientific concepts, or the vastness of the cosmos, there's always a sense of wonder and mystery waiting to be explored.
I couldn't agree more. This deep dive has been an exercise in curiosity, critical thinking, and the joy of uncovering hidden truths.
It has.
It's a reminder that the search for order within chaos is an ongoing process, one that requires us to question, to explore, and to embrace the unexpected.
Absolutely.
So for those of you listening, I encourage you to keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the subjects that fascinate you. You never know what incredible insights and connections you might uncover.
You never know.
And remember, even in the midst of chaos, there's beauty, meaning, and a profound sense of wonder waiting to be found.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this mind-expanding journey. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the hidden truths and unexpected connections that shape our world.